Welcome to the Ask Faleskini podcast with a guest. This is the 7 series, and this is number 3 of that 7 series about ARC7. And we have again with us amazing Teré Foster. Teré, welcome back to the show, and let's discuss our today's topic, and that is how does ARC7 archaeology push us to collaborate. Welcome to the show.
Right. Oh, good morning. Okay, so collaboration, how does it push us towards collaboration? Because we are doing something a little different than the usual, which is the usual is to build a building and then say, who wants to come to this building and live here, or who wants to come and rent this place for your business? And it's all done in that order. You have the person who has the vision to build the building, and then you have another company probably that comes in and does the marketing, and then you have finally these people, random people from everywhere, who decide to use that building. So we're doing this a different way, or a different order, in that we first say, who would like to be in this building? Who would like to work together? Who would like to see this vision happen? And who would have the capacity to do it? And what do we need? And what type of people do we need? And what are the goals and the outcomes that we'd be looking for? And because we're doing it that way, now it can become a purpose-driven model instead of a financial-driven model, although it should be financially sound also. But it's a purpose-driven project, which means that we focus on what we want to do and what we want to accomplish, and the why behind what we're doing. So it's just a little different than just, the normal everyday
Let me ask you a couple of things. When you talk about the vision, how you envision this archaeology building new buildings that will be in touch with the nature and with society. You mentioned that this society, or I believe that you mentioned or implied that the society needs to be coherent, and that you first need to understand who's going to live there and what will their functions in this community be. So what will they contribute? And only then you would start building the whole property up, or the whole village up, and that would avoid what happens now with, for example, the same neighborhood has it's a, let's say, lawyers' neighborhood, and then you have 5 or 10 lawyers in the same street, or you have actors in the same street, or you have property developers in the same region. So just because people do the same jobs or same kind of jobs, they're more competitive towards each other. And you also mentioned that the first KPI will not be money and financial satisfaction, but will be society coherence. Can you disclose a bit more how you imagine the roles in society will be shared? Who's gonna do what? Who are you looking for? How should this society come together? Is that based on older American models, where in every village you had someone to shoe your horse, you had someone that was a baker, and you had someone that hold the pub, and all this stuff, and there was a doctor, and there was a preacher, and all this stuff. Is that modeled on this, let's say, classical US society? How did you model your coherent society prototype?
I think that's a really close description of how it could be. The roles that I've written out, I have 50 roles based on the 7 dimensions. So the 7 dimensions again start with survival and just, getting our basic needs met. Then that would include everybody who does food production, water production, sanitation, all of that, just like basic. And then from there, we have body, mind, spirit. So, body, of course, would be anything to do with health and well being. We need people who are doctors and coaches and, people who keep us healthy. And then mind is anybody involved with education, education of our youth, but also education all the way till you die. You don't ever stop learning. So there should be really great, rich things offered for education. And mind also includes technology and all the expanse that we see, and it's changing every day. And so whoever is involved with mind, the mind dimension, is going to have to, someone in that dimension is going to have to keep on top of the things that are constantly changing. Otherwise, we'll be outdated, before we even get the building built, right?
Okay.
And then
you were talking about the 50 roles that you believe that are necessary for
right,
your community. However,
starting with the 7 dimensions.
in today's world, we know over 1,000 professions. So how do you
Right.
Plan to compensate for the lack of professions within the community? Will you expand these 50 roles?
I don't think there will be a lack. I don't think there will be a lack. So so as you have these 7 dimensions, you get your people there that are going to meet the very important needs in society, right? So I'm saying there's 7 dimensions. I'm giving 7 roles in each dimension of leadership. And then going on from there, whoever is in that group, let's say there's 50 leaders, they bring their families. So I say that they get to bring a party of 7. So there's 7 people, 7 roles, 7 dimensions, and 7 people that come with each of the 50. So it ends up about 350 people.
Okay.
So then those 350 people, some of them will be children, right? And some of them will be parents, maybe that are no longer working, maybe are retired. But that doesn't mean they wouldn't have a good role, but maybe not one of the 50 leadership roles. So anyway, so filling those 50 leadership roles, that doesn't mean that no one else is coming. It's just those 50 roles are what we need for leadership. And then going on from there, people who are coming as a family member or a friend, or not needing to be in leadership, can have anything, do anything they want to contribute, as long as the community says we think that's valuable and we want that.
You really thought things over, and everyone has its own role in your arcology, and also they're destined to collaborate, and everything should run smoothly. Did you take a Christian idea of heaven as a role model, how society should be organized according to ARC7 arcology?
I don't know. I don't know of any Christian way to organize. I don't know what you mean. I am a Christian. I have strong knowledge of Bible stuff, but I can't think of any way where they said that they were organizing people. Do you?
Yeah, the question was the vision or the envisionment, how you want people to live and collaborate the same as Bible presents heaven. That is important. Will people within this community be living as in heaven? Is that a model? Is that an inspiration?
I suppose. I haven't really thought of that. Heaven, like that people love each other and support each other and have wonderful morals and connection. And yeah, I suppose, what my thought was, I wasn't really thinking of heaven, but I was thinking heavenly. Like, what could be the highest and best? Whenever you make a plan, you decide what the outcome will be, and what you'll shoot for. And so was just wondering what would happen if you shot for highest and best, you know? If no one's tried it, we don't know if it could work. But highest and best means that everybody gets what they need and everybody's happy or trying to be, to the best of their own ability. And some of that is circumstantial and some of that can be to do with relationships, and some of that is just happiness. Human happiness is fleeting, coming and going, so it doesn't mean that everybody will be constantly singing like you can envision heaven, but why not make that the goal? Like, why not?
Okay.
So
when you describe how people's needs gonna be met, you also mention a concept where the more you help others, the more others will help you. Can you please elaborate on that? How you envision that in everyday life and with modern people and in a modern society?
Okay, so when you help someone, I'm sure you've experienced this. When you help someone, there's wonderful hormones that are released, and you feel great about life, and you feel good about yourself. Even apart from how that person receives it, so it really is about you. And when you give and you serve, you just feel better about life. So you're meeting needs inside of yourself that can't be met any other way. So you have your basic needs, and then you have your connection needs, but then there's a deeper needs of just being a great person, being someone that matters to someone else, being someone that has an impact. And so choosing a lifestyle on purpose to have an impact is just what I would call highest and best. And you're meeting your own need for that feeling of being a great person. So it's still very selfish, but yet it is still meeting other people's needs. So you might be doing it for the selfish reason that it feels really great and you feel like a better person, but you're also meeting other people's needs, and so they in theory would be also seeking that feeling, and that would come back to you. They would be kind, or be helpful or support you as you're trying to start a business, or write a song or whatever. So that's the idea, is that if everybody involved is has educated themselves about this concept and has also made a commitment to reach for highest and best, that everyone would kind of meet their own needs by doing that and meet each other's needs at the same time.
Yeah, that is really enthusiastic and optimistic. Will there be, on top of certification, you're also doing a lot of coaching work, and you're also preparing coaches to coach people how to enter the ARC7 community. What
Yes.
I'm interested in is, will these coaches continue to be accountability partners for people living in the community? How will you?
Yes. That's a very good way to put it.
So people
Yes.
will have to talk with someone similar to in Christian religion. Yeah, when you meet your priest and you go and talk about your sins and then repent. How will this work in your community?
um okay. So I suppose it could be thought of like that, but more like you know, a mentor, somebody who's there for you, that knows you. And sometimes it's really just nice to have somebody there, somebody in the world that knows what you're going through, knows what you're struggling with. And you don't want to tell everybody, but you want to tell somebody. So it's not it's not like confession, but like just to the degree that you want it. It's not like somebody invasive trying to find out what you did, or what you're or expecting you to repent. But more like just like, here's this person, they are there for you and they will help you walk through it. And sometimes you just need someone to talk with that will have the same values and have the same goals and understand your goals, and then talk about it. So that's
Okay,
you know
I would like to discuss one more topic before we wrap up this fourth part of our series. How will you, because you're building a whole new society, how will you ensure that people that will come in this society do not bring in their generational traumas, their problems, and will not spread these problems within the community? How will you ensure that? Is there any mechanism already developed for that, so that outside stress and outside trauma does not come, or if I say lower vibration does not come in
yes,
the community?
yes.
How will you ensure that? How will you then ensure that people will be initial or like they will have an initiative to help others and not act like we act today and just be selfish and take care of ourselves because we are afraid that we're going to lose everything because the world pushes so much pressure on us? How will you work with
Well,
questions?
that's a really good point, right. As you said that, you're afraid of loss. If we count on ourselves being selfish, right, that's one thing we can count on usually, is that everybody's selfish. So if you have this system where they come in and they own together and they build together, and they work together, so their financial well-being is also impacted by their behavior. Now, it just occurred to me that when you said that our selfish nature would be so motivated to be nice, because we wouldn't want to lose our standing in the community and lose everything we invested, right? Because the community at some point would say, you know, you're just not really seeing the vision, and I don't think you belong here. I think, why don't you go ahead and look for another way, another place to live. And suddenly, now their good behavior and their kindness is related to their financial well-being. So I can see that as a peer pressure in the right direction rather than peer pressure in the wrong direction, like you were saying, like fear of loss. So you start being selfish. It's like, in this case, fear of loss, you're going to be as nice as possible.
Okay, that smells a lot like social scoring from China. Is that something that you plan to to introduce into your
Okay.
community? How will you regulate things? How will this happen? Is there any self-regulation already in place, or how do you envision that? How do you plan to reward collaboration, and how do you plan to punish selfishness?
Okay, so for sure, the reward is what we talked about already, is that you just feel really good when you're a good person, when you're trying hard, when you give, you feel better. So that's one reward. Other rewards is the connection that you have with people. That's and losing that is very painful. So that would be the possible punishment, is just loss of relationships. And so now you're not just talking about one relationship like a wife or a husband where everything is about that one relationship, but now you've got a relationship, a tight relationship with at least 50 leaders and their families. So it's not like you can just be irritated or unkind to somebody's child, and then they're still gonna be really excited to see you. You're gonna lose your connection with those people. So I think it's going to be its own self-regulating system, because people want to be in a good situation, and most people avoid pain. So I think that that's going to be its own self-regulating system. However, there will be support systems in place, as we talked about body, mind, and spirit, each one of those being a system or a center where you can go for support. And then family, community, and humanity. So that's the 7 total: survival, body, mind, and spirit, family, community, and humanity. So when you're talking about family and then community, there will be systems in place, lots of them, where people can go. They're fighting with their spouse or they're fighting with a neighbor. You're going to have support there, because it's so such an integral part of this particular society. They're going to have some support. So that's why we need our coaches. That's why we need trained individuals that can be there for people and make sure that everybody's doing well.
Okay. Another collaboration that I would like to touch before we wrap up is collaboration with the outside world. How did you imagine collaboration of this community with the outside world? How will this exchange happen? What will be the ground for these exchanges?
Okay, so it would be exactly as it is now. So let's say you live in an apartment building, and you interact with the community. The apartment building is down the street from Taco Bell, or I don't know what you have in your country, but it's the same place as any other place. And so it's not like you're separate and you're miles outside of town, unless somebody really wanted to be off grid and the whole society group wanted to build off grid far away. I don't know why you would, but it's so much more convenient to be able to go down the street to get stuff you need, instead of having to drive a great distance and be secluded and isolated. So I have never recommended being like isolated from the community, the surrounding community. And also, because we have such great things going on inside this this system, we can offer great things to the public, events and counseling and life coaching and massage or health benefits, natural health remedies, endless things to the public around us. So we wouldn't want to be too far away from the public. We want to be, just like it is now, just like any other place you live or work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you very much for these insights. and looking forward to our next 4 episodes of ARC7
Oh,
series.
thank you so much.